Good morning, everybody. How are you? We're here to announce this morning something I think we're all really very happy with, the Pay As You Stay program. As I said at the State of the County last year, and it's very, very serious, that there was a lot of work we had to do with respect to foreclosures. Foreclosures, we all know, have devastated Wayne County. And in order to rebuild, serious work had to be done. And so as a part of that, we put together a task force that worked almost all of this year, and I'll acknowledge them a little later in terms of who they are and they were, but with the backdrop that it's important as a step in trying to lift people out of poverty, and that's critical. And in my mind, it's at least as important as the incentives that we're consumed with a lot of times about trying to help businesses come in and locate and save tax dollars. So, poverty and folks who are fearful of losing their houses are at least as important. We're far better off with people in their homes. Almost goes without saying. It's an important measure of any society's strength is the ability to have home ownership, and certainly for people who have homes to be able to keep their homes. This program is a substantial step toward reducing foreclosures. It creates kind of a critical balance between tax collections and foreclosures, but it's certainly important. Qualifying for the property tax exemption will really reduce foreclosures. Avoiding tax foreclosures combats poverty, big issue in Wayne County. The poverty tax exemption helps people stay in their homes. And it increases the odds that low-income residents don't deal with foreclosure and so therefore have more money to use for the important things in life that we all deal with regularly, and certainly the poor deal with in a more stressful environment than the rest of us. This program, Pay As You Stay, will dramatically reduce monthly payments. It reduces the amount of years the resident will be in the payment plans, and it also applies to those qualified for disabled veterans exemptions. Legislation is a big step forward and will help many people. The legislation that will be necessary to make the Pay As You Stay program go. While I was earlier in favor of a quiet title program that would have gone further, I will say that this is a good step in the right direction and will have substantive results for people who need it most. Waiving interest and penalties is part of the program, and that's really Wayne County's skin in the game. And it's skin we're willing to give willingly because, again, the whole idea of keeping people in their homes is the most critical ingredient. I'm excited to work with Mayor Duggan, who is to my left, and Treasurer Sabree in support of this legislation. If you're a homeowner who thinks you qualify for a PTE, you must reside in the home and meet income guidelines. And you can check with your city for those, but just to give an idea, and just think about this, the reality of what I'm saying. A family of four will qualify if you make less than $28,671 a year. Let's think about that for a minute. $28,675. That is another issue, but look at these thresholds. And if you're in Inkster, it's a little different. A family of four would be $24,600. Anything below that would qualify. We know lots of people qualify but haven't been down to get it, haven't done the paperwork necessary to do that. And this is another opportunity, even if it's not people that are necessarily hearing the message right now, but please understand you know people who do. And it's important that people seek the property tax exemption if they're entitled to it, and they are entitled to it. So that's very, very important. If you are already granted PTE and are on a payment plan, please look into this program because it's not going to automatically change your payment plan, but you need to look into it in order to make this work. I'd like to thank the partners, some who are here today, some who aren't, certainly the mayor, the treasurer, Judge Tim Kenney, I see over there who chaired the task force, Wayne Metro, Southwest Solutions, National Faith Home Buyers, Quicken Loans Community Fund, and the United Community Housing Coalition. I can't tell you how much time and energy those people put in all year trying to get to this result. It doesn't happen through osmosis, or it doesn't happen because you snap your finger. It happens because people work hard at it. So I want to really thank them. And I want to take a minute to thank our staff in Wayne County who have done the same thing, worked very, very diligently on this. Daniel Rosenbaum, I don't think Daniel's here today. It's a Jewish holiday and he's out, but Melissa Palapu, Cheryl Jordan, and Khalil Rahal. My staff just have done a tremendous job on working on this program, and we think it's going to have great results. So I will now turn the microphone over to my colleague, Mayor Duggan.
All right. Well, good morning. I want to start by thanking County Executive Evans and the Treasurer, Eric Sabree, and the team for putting this together. I am obsessed with the goal to eliminate blight from the city of Detroit entirely by 2025. And we think we have the plan to do it. But of course, you'll never eliminate the blight if people keep moving out of their houses. And so what we have to do is make sure that we have a plan that people can stay. And so today, I want to thank Representative Wendell Byrd, who's going to be our champion in Lansing. In addition to the county task force, on our side, Evan Cunningham of the Office of Chief Financial Officer, Chelsea Neblett from the Department of Neighborhoods, and Adam Kokonakis from HRD have worked very hard on our side. And if you look at the progress that's been made, it's remarkable. In 2015, there were more than 9,000 occupied houses foreclosed in the city of Detroit. This year, it's 500. We've seen a 94% reduction in occupied house foreclosures in the last 4 years. And that is because of the efforts from folks up here. Certainly House Bill 4882 was the centerpiece of that, and I was in Lansing in 2014 where we changed the law, and it was a fight to change the law. A lot of the county treasurers didn't want to do it, to give the treasurers the option of, instead of 18% interest on payment plans, being able to do a 5-year payment plan at 6% interest, and Treasurer Sabree has been very aggressive. Then we've had numerous programs, and I see Ted Phillips and Michelle Oberholzer here, who have worked with Quicken and a number of others to all kinds of outreach programs to keep people in their neighborhoods. Vicky Cavari has had volunteers knocking on doors every single year. When the notices come out, somebody goes and knocks on the door of everybody there saying, we've got options to keep you in your house. But while 94% is great progress, even after that, we've still got about 30,000 people in the city who've got an arrearage. They still have that stress hanging over their heads. It's economic stress. It's also a fear that at some point their house could be in jeopardy. And so the question then becomes, what do we do with those folks? And I think we can agree that people below the poverty level have a right to be treated differently than the others. And so what the county executive and the treasurer and our teams have come up with, I think, is a fair solution, that if you are an individual at $19,000 a year or less, or as the county executive said, a family of 4 of $28,000 or less, we've got an option that we think is fair for you. And basically it has 3 pieces. One, if you are overburdened on your taxes, your outstanding tax bill is more than 10% of the value of your property, it's immediately reduced to 10%. So if you have been caught up in something where you probably should have appealed it 3 years ago and you didn't, we have a way of fixing it. And we've got people who did not exercise their appeal rights that probably would have been successful. Second, all of the penalties, interest, et cetera, are gone. What has been happening is, part of the reason the treasurer has not been able to get folks out from under this is not the original property tax amount they owed. It's all of the penalties and fines and interest that piled up on top of it. And so we're saying, if you fall in this income level and you will stick with this program, all of that will be waived. And then third, you'll get a 0% loan for the next 3 years. And so in 3 years, you will be out from under this. And you're going to hear from folks, but basically it's going to be a 60 to 80% reduction. If you were paying $50 a month, you're probably going to be paying $10. If you were paying $120 a month, you're probably going to be paying $20 a month. And so we think this is a fair way to do it. The key thing, though, is we have to get this through Lansing. And I was shocked at how hard it was to get House Bill 4882 through in 2014. I spent a lot of time up there. It literally got passed on the Senate floor the last day before they broke for Christmas. Representative Phil Kavanaugh had sponsored that bill, and it was because county treasurers around the state said, this is Wayne County's problem. I don't want a bunch of people coming into my office demanding payment plans. We ultimately struck a deal to allow counties to opt in and opt out, but we still had a number of folks who didn't even want that. And so we went to probably the most sophisticated financial person in the state legislature, Representative Byrd, who's got a long audit history and knows these things inside and out. And we said, all right, let's do something that will dramatically ease the burden on our residents so they can stay in their houses, but we also have a real shot at getting it through. And talking together, we think we have something that's a fair balance. It is not going to be easy to get through. We still don't know. The county treasurer is going to want a straight opt-in, opt-out language. They're going to want Wayne County only language. When you change these, you pick up some legislators and you lose others. And so it's going to take a great deal of skill to get this through. But I know the county executive, the treasurer, and I think a lot of community groups will be up there lobbying side by side. And I'm confident we're going to be successful because we have the right bill sponsor. So please welcome Representative Wendell Byrd.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good morning. I feel honored and privileged that the county exec, the mayor, and the treasurer has given me the opportunity to get this legislation passed and into law, because I think helping the low-income retain their homes will do a double thing. It will give them the comfort and things that they need, like everyone else, and would also be a big step in stabilizing our neighborhoods, which is a big step in bringing back our city to the great city that we all know that it can be. And I can assure you I will work very diligently, 24 hours a day, to get this legislation passed, and I have some assistance already in Lansing, and we're going to work to get this done. Thank you very much, Mr. Treasurer.
Good morning. I wanted to say that I want to thank our county executive. I want to thank Mayor Duggan, County Executive Evans, and our commissioners, 15 commissioners in Wayne County, chaired by our chairwoman, Alicia Bell, as well as all the nonprofits who are working diligently to help reduce foreclosures. Without the partnerships that we have, this would be impossible. I'm pleased to support this legislative proposal to reduce property tax foreclosures in Detroit and Wayne County. This pay-as-you-stay legislation will help the most vulnerable homeowners in the county stay in their homes. We have worked very hard to reduce foreclosures. Countywide, foreclosures have been reduced by 86% over the last few years. However, there are still homeowners who are struggling with their tax payments, and this plan can help those who can least afford to pay. I'm also pleased that assistance for our 100% disabled veterans is a part of this proposed legislation. This proposal is presented at a particularly important time. The federally funded and state-managed Step Forward program, which has helped many facing tax foreclosure, announced recently that the program will no longer accept applications after November 30th of this year. We are urging individuals to come to the Wayne County Treasurer's Office at 400 Monroe, the 5th floor, to meet with a specialist to help address their tax issues and to check with their local assessor's office to see if they're eligible for an exemption from property taxes. I met recently with, this Monday, as a matter of fact, with 14 other county treasurers, the largest counties in the state, and there was mixed reviews about this legislation, but we have some strong supporters among that group, both Democrat and Republicans. So we're going to work with them and try to get this passed. Thank you.
Good morning. First, let me acknowledge my colleagues who are here today. I see Commissioner Al Haydas, Sam Baydoun, Commissioner Baker McCormick. Any other Wayne County commissioners here today? Thank you, colleagues, for being with us today. I am thrilled that the city and county leaders have joined together to help thousands of residents throughout Wayne County and the state of Michigan. This plan is going to make our monthly payments for foreclosure more affordable. People will remain in their homes to help keep us having vibrant cities and vibrant communities, because that's what we want. And what happens when people get foreclosed upon, they leave their homes, they decimate our communities, and that's not the kind of city and county that we want to be. So as you can see from the strong leaders that are here today, we are all on one accord, making sure that we are doing the best as government leaders to keep persons in their homes, keep the foreclosure rate down, and keep our vibrant cities throughout Detroit and throughout Wayne County, and again, for that matter, throughout the state of Michigan. Thank you, and I look forward to this program passing, Rep. Byrd, through the State House and Senate, and ultimately having the signature of our governor. Thank you so much. And I'd like to bring Councilwoman Janae Ayers to the podium.
All right, thank you. Good morning, everyone. You all are quiet, and we're talking about something that is extremely important, so, right? Okay, all right. Because I've seen you all before. This is a lively group. So, bottom line is that we all know that this is something that is not the end-all, be-all, but it most certainly creates what we want, and that's an opportunity for a chance. That's an opportunity for people to stay in their homes, because we all know that we want to have neighbors. And if you have a neighbor now, you want to keep those neighbors. And so as a council member at large, I know that this is not just a problem that's germane to any specific district in the city. It's not even one that's just germane to the city of Detroit. And that's why we're all here joining together, because we're all of one like mind. We want to keep people in their homes. We want to create thriving neighborhoods. And we want to make sure that we continue to just invest in people, invest in opportunity, not in vacant lots. So I am pleased to stand here as an at-large council member, as the budget chair, to stand with all of these wonderful people and just fight for this. So Rep. Byrd, whatever you need from us, we most certainly will be there for you. And do want to acknowledge, well, that part too. Want to acknowledge my colleague, Scott Benson, who is here representing the mighty East Side, District 3. But I get to bring up Linda Smith from You Snap Back. Thank you.
Good morning. This is a very exciting day for those of us who are out on the front line in neighborhoods, communities, trying to keep people in their home. There are a number of nonprofits that's working on this. Just raise your hand. I'm not here by myself. I also represent all the hard workers in our community. This is another tool in the toolbox for our residents. It's important that we get the word out. Oftentimes, I hear from residents that come into our office for help, and they're like, I didn't know about it. The PTE forums, there are workshops that are across the city. There are a number of community groups that are providing that service. There's no such thing as a dumb question when it comes to keeping your home, all right? Education, information is key to keeping your home these days. No one wants to talk about foreclosure or removing a family from their home. This bill will allow people who have purchased homes with outstanding taxes to catch up on those taxes and their current taxes. We all know it's very hard to pay your bills when you're trying to play catch up, especially when you've gotten behind. So we're very hopeful, prayerful that this bill will pass. And with that, I'd like to bring up a resident, Warren Hargo III, who would like to just talk a little bit about his struggle in keeping his home. Thank you.
How's everybody doing today? Thank y'all for coming out, and thank y'all for having me. I'm a disabled veteran. I've been living back in Michigan now since, I believe 2001. My grandma, she originally purchased a home. I grew up in a home, first steps in the home. And actually, my two-block radius, the vast majority of the folks that I grew up on the block when I was a kid are still there. We all still talk. We have a great block club, and everybody looks out for each other. But unfortunately, my grandma left me in the house with a lot of debt that I didn't know. And so thus in catching up with her debt, I got into debt, got sick, got depressed, had a few operations, and fell behind. And, you know, sometimes being a disabled vet, you know, we get kind of discouraged. And sometimes you go for help and you hit a few walls, and then, you know, you kind of give up. And I was at the point where I had kind of gave up until like about the last few months. And so now that I see that there are probably actually now some programs that are starting to be implemented to help vets, and maybe that'll be able to help them be able to sustain a good life, I guess, you know, where they don't have to worry about their home or trying to catch up on anything that they probably shouldn't have to. But, you know, it's awful hard out here when you can't work and hustle at the same time, though, when but you're disabled. So, you know, you do the best you can, though, but I have improved the property tremendously at the same time when I fell behind, so that's no excuse, though, but I wasn't in there just living like everybody else, though, but I inherited a money pit. No, the outside of the house is immaculate. Sprinklers, flowers, everything. I mean, it's immaculate. You know, I can't take her. You know, she took care of the house for years. Unfortunately, she didn't like to take care of the inside of the house. So I had many years of cleanup to do. I still got a little ways to go, though, but I've done changed the roof, almost all the windows. We done rebuilt the addition, had to completely tear down the kitchen. The pipes was full with grease because she was pouring grease down the pipes. Then we done did half the electrical, and thus, all at the same time, like I said, I had to catch up with hers. Like, hers was back. I got the house in 2012, so she probably had about 5 to 6 years of back taxes as well with penalties. And I couldn't get no help for that. So I got turned down from Step Forward and everybody else. So when Step Forward turned me down, I kind of went to a free-for-all and fell into a depression. So, but thank God I'm back today, though, and hopefully I'll be able to get some help. And actually, I'm not the one in this room that need applause. Actually, it's all y'all people in here that's actually fighting for some change, because it's about time somebody around here does something. Yeah. Like I said, I've been back here since the early 2000s, and it was kind of being embarrassed trying to say that I was a Michigander, because I didn't see no love happening around here. You know, so finally I was starting to see people start coming to the neighborhoods and start doing things now, because I don't come downtown. You know, I have an anxiety issue and everything, so I don't come around a lot of people, though, but I would love to see the other side of Detroit look good rather than downtown, though, but thankfully y'all are starting to help. Thank you.
Thank you, namesake. Mr. Hargo, thank you very much. I think we all appreciate hearing what he had to say and understanding if you multiply that by 1,000, you really see something, and he certainly is the only person that's in that situation. At this point, I'd like to open it up to questions, if folks have them, at least a few. Yes, ma'am?
Christine McDonald from the Detroit News. Mayor, can you talk a little bit about what you meant that this was kind of a fair solution? You used that word. You know, there was an original proposal back in 2015 to do a entire retroactive property tax reduction, potentially up to 3 years, wiping all the taxes away. You know, can you talk about why you feel this is still enough? Is this going to get at this large debt that folks have and just can't get out under? Why leave that? I mean, one other thing, you know, just this year only 6,000 people applied for this. So how do you?
There's no question we're going to continue, and we got a lot of partners here who are very good at the publicity side that will work that very well. And I've been, the way you communicate these things, it's amazing to me. No matter how many stories there are on TV or the newspaper or billboards, the most effective thing is when somebody knocks on your door and says, here's how the program works. And that's really what has driven this. So we're trying to figure out the right thing. You heard Mr. Hargo. Most people that I talk to aren't saying to me, I don't want to pay anything. They're saying, I can't pay $100 or $120 a month on a back pay and still pay my bills. And so with the proposal you're looking at here, somebody that was paying $120 a month is now paying $20 a month, and it'll be gone in 3 years. We also have a lot of people in this city who took advantage of House Bill 5882 and paid off their back taxes over 5 years in full. And so the question is, what's the balance? And then the other question is, what can we get through Lansing? And as we're talking to Representative Byrd, if it were just the city council and the county commission, my guess is we could have done this relatively easily. We've got to go up to a dysfunctional operation up in Lansing where, you know, we still don't have a budget, and try to get this through. And so, talking together, we said, what can we do to dramatically cut the costs, get the stress of these bills out of our homeowners' lives, and get something that has a realistic chance to pass. The easiest thing in the world as a politician to stand up here and say, I'm in favor of everything for everyone, when you know full well that when you actually get down to it, it's not likely to get passed. And so we'll see. By the time we're done in Lansing, this will probably get modified. And if we get more votes by making it more attractive, we'll make it more attractive. We would get the votes to pass it by making it a little less attractive. We're going to have to do what we got to do. But we have got to get something through Lansing. This is not something we have the power to do on our own. And as I say, we couldn't have a better sponsor to get the best possible deal for the homeowners in Wayne County and still get a vote through, you know, what is a Republican legislature.
It's 5 years ago, you went to Lansing and asked for a payment plan, forfeitures and penalties. Now you're going to Lansing and ask them to throw out the payment plan.
I'm not asking them to throw it out. So if you're above the poverty rate, payment plan is available to you. So if you're a single person who makes more than $19,000, the payment plan from House Bill 4882 is still available to you. If you're an individual who makes less than $19,000 or a family of 4 that makes less than $28,000, we're saying these individuals probably could have qualified for the property tax exemption if they'd filled it out. So I'm not asking the legislature to undo what we're doing. I'm asking them to give another option for lower income residents. And I think that's going to be something that's a fair thing to ask, and Representative Byrd can assess better than I can how he thinks that'll be received.
The payment plan the mayor was referring to, 4852, I believe, it has an 8-year sunset on it to be in effect for at least 8 years. We tried to get it unlimited, but when we got to the Senate, they required us to put a sunset on it. This would be in addition to that payment plan. This would be for people who would have a certain income, can afford to qualify for it, and they'll get a better payment plan on paying off the delinquency. A lot of times, these people could have qualified for the delinquency, but they didn't know it, or for whatever reason, they didn't apply for it. And the assessor couldn't go back and give it to them, but he could do it for the current year. So we're just trying to undo something that they might have been entitled to anyway. But it does not affect the initial payment plan for people, because it's an 8-year sunset on it.
While you're on that subject, when it comes to payment plans, there's a lot of programs that people don't know about. Are you going to do anything, or can you put something in there regarding educating the community of the programs that they may have already, that they don't even fall into the need?
Well, that would be a separate issue. Right now, we're trying to get the bill passed, and that's going to be a task.
Excuse me, Vicki. We will take one more question. Vicki, you're it. Thank you.
All right. Is there a cap on the amount that will be forgiven if they make the payments and whatnot on time? And what is your argument when you go to these legislators on trying to get it passed?
Well, my position is that your county, your treasurer has an option to utilize this if they so see fit. If they decide they don't want to do it, they don't have to opt in. But yet and still, Detroit is the largest city in the state of Michigan. And like anybody else, we're asking for some relief for a problem that's massive to us. Just like they did some relief downriver, gave them $18 million to fix a bridge. So we're asking them to do the same thing for us, but in another manner. And if you can't do it, then explain to me why you can't do it.
There you go.
All right.
Thank you very much. Most of us will hang around afterwards. Let that conclude the formal
No,
questions.
that was the other part of the question. Is there a cap?
I'm sorry, you have another part of the question?
There's no cap.
No cap.
Is there a yearly, like, is it like X amount of years back, or is it just totally capped?
Go ahead.
No, there's no cap. It takes it down to 10%, I think, for whatever the outstanding balance is.
We'll hang around and answer questions, but formally we're done. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.